What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Dandadan, man. Chapter 214. And I could handle Momo losing her memories. I've got okay with it. I'm dealing with it. But I cannot handle your boy Okarun acting like a straight scaredy cat. Granted, I know this is his character, but damn, man. Like, yo, toughen up and say the words that need to be said so that Momo can regain her memory, so something can snap in her mind and she realize what's going on. Like, yo, he's pissing me off. Like in the last chapter, I thought it was adorable, whatever the case may be. Oh, he's about to stand up to her. But now I'm like, yo, damn, bruh. Yo, you keep missing the pass, man. Dunk that shit. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it right now. We about to get into this chapter. Currently at work, man. So, hey, look, you know how it is when I'm at work, man. But hopefully you respect the grind and thumb up this video and subscribe. And Okarun, man, like, get your shit together. But anyway, the chapter starts off where you have Momo asking, Okarun what his name is. And he go ahead and tell her, his nickname. His nickname is Okarun. And she's like, nah, I don't want to know your nickname. I want to know your real name. And of course, you have it where he's like, nah, I don't want to tell you my real name because you won't like it. You don't like it. And she's like, yo, isn't that for me to decide? She's like, yo, you did decide already. That's why you call me Okarun. You lost your memories. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Momo ever told him the real reason why she doesn't want to call him by his real name, which is Ken. You know what I'm saying? It makes her think of, the character from, I think it was a show or something along those lines. So she doesn't really want to tell him that. But at the same time, I'm like, man, just tell her your name, man. I would have just been like, yo, my name Ken. It is what it is. But of course, you got it where, they're sitting down and she was saying like, yo, so, what are we like? Like, what are we to one another? And he's like, we're just friends. And that's when he should have went further and said like, yo, we were on the verge of becoming something more than friends. I'm not saying lie to her, but he could have said we were on the verge to becoming something more than friends, because I truly believe they were, had her memories not been taken away. But anyway, you got it where, she's pretty much asking him if he, how she was before she lost her memories. And, he was telling her like, yo, you didn't believe in aliens. And of course she's saying there is no such thing as aliens. And he was like, there really is. And she was like, well, prove it then. Show me proof. And then he's like, okay, well, come with me, meet me such and such, and I will show you proof. Then you have it where he's thinking to himself like, yo, she feels so far away. Even though she's so close, she still feels so far away. And that right there is kind of heartbreaking. Then you just have him having flashbacks and memories of all the time they spent together. He says it's just gone. No matter how I explain things, there's no getting it back. Logically, I get it, but I just can't accept that. So when he said that, I'm like, yo, this dude about to go in. He's about to make a confession. And then next thing, that's when they pretty much start talking, and he goes to say, well, Dino Girl's an alien. She's like, nah, she's a transfer student from India. And that's crazy to think that that's the thing she's going through. He's like, well, I can show you her kaiju suit. But of course, her kaiju suit is busted right now and is getting fixed by Mr. Penny. So you have it where she's like, well, show me proof. And you see that Momo is being like kind of aggy, like, hurry up and show it to me. He's like, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. And he's like, you know what? After school, meet me, and I'll show you this proof. So they meet up after school. And of course, they get to the location where Penny is supposed to be. And it looks like he's not there. Next thing you know, Kenta actually shows up. And this part is hilarious as hell. He's like, yo, before you lost your memories, Momo, we were lovers. I don't know why. I just thought that shit was hilarious as hell. Ira comes out of nowhere and say, no, you weren't. And then you got Gigi saying like, yo, stay away from him, And then she's like, yo, don't go around putting, Ira says, don't go around putting false memories in her mind. And of course you got it where she says like, yo, this guy's really the pits. The truth is, Momo, you were my servant. You were my slave. And the fact that she goes to say that to her is even more hilarious, man. And you got it where Okarun's like, nah, that's a lie too. That's a lie too. Then Gigi, he says the one that's not really something that could affect Momo based off her losing her memories. But he goes to say he's the best player in Super Smash Bros. Like I said, I really love how Dandadan pays homage to so many different things in real life. But of course, you got it where Okarun says that that's all lies too. And then she says like, yo, so this is a club made up liars. How am I supposed to trust any of you? And then you got it where Ira asks Gigi what's going on with Seiko. And he tells her that Seiko's in the hospital and she has to undergo another surgery, so she'll probably be there for the next 2 to 3 months. Even though she's trying to act tough, she really is hurting. We ain't tell Momo because they don't want her to worry too much. But of course, you have it where Ira gets the idea to like show her transformation. So she transformed into her silky form. And as she's standing there in front of Momo, we now find out that Momo cannot even see anything paranormal. You have it where Gigi says, yeah, she didn't even perceive the evil eye either. And he's like really powerful. But you have it where it seems she's lost her ability to sense the supernatural. And of course, you got her saying, are we done yet? I'll be leaving right now. And of course, everyone's apologizing to Momo as she walks off. And then you have it where Okarun says, let's go. But then Ira grabs him and says like, yo, Takakura, come here. And that's when she hears his name. And, earlier he didn't want to say his name, but that's his last name, not his first name. So she's like, you wouldn't tell me your name because you said I wouldn't like it, but it's just an ordinary name. So were we even really friends? And you got it where she's walking off and Gigi saying, hey, yo, of course you guys were friends. You were best of friends. And then you got Ira saying, we were much closer though. Me and him are much closer than you guys are. And of course she's walking off. And that's when I'm like, yo, Okarun, reach out to her, say your first name. But he doesn't do it. And as she walks off, she says like, yo, something is really bothering her. Why is she feeling like this? It feels like she's totally being left out. And, she says like, yo, what is this? Seriously, what is this feeling? And she says, damn it. And you have it where she's walking away. And then she runs into German Saint. And he says, let me hear all about your worries. And that's how the chapter ends. Now, I feel like he's going to try to manipulate Momo into being best of friends with him. And once that happens, we might even have a situation where Momo faces off against the rest of the Dandadan gang, believing that, she's always been on his side from the very beginning. But then again, we do know, a couple chapters ago, he said he wanted to befriend them and become close friends with them and work with them going forward so that he could create the ultimate yokai. So who knows? He might even plan on turning Momo into this ultimate yokai, and she might be like controlled, and it's up to the gang to try to free her. I don't know where the story's going, but all in all, I like some of the parts of this chapter, but not all of the parts. I enjoyed the stuff with Kenta, as well as Gigi and Ira. The stuff with your boy Okarun, some of it was good, but for the most part, I was just really disappointed that he fell short to confess how he feels about Momo and at least just tell her his name. So maybe we'll get that in the next chapter, but I don't know how long this arc is going to be. I hope it's just one of those arcs that they don't drag out too long. Like I said, it all just depends on the way it ends for me to decide whether or not I'm okay with this arc. But let me know y'all thoughts on this one down below. If you like the video, thumb it up, please subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.